Hey Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking on Capnclydes MTG. We're back for more spoilers from Karlov Manor, and we've got some doozies in there, I think. So, let's get into it. But before we do, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. The comments down below will feed the YouTube algorithm. And with all that good jazz, there's links in there. There's eBay, TCG, Player Store, Patreon if you want to go old school. Memberships are now on and live at YouTube. We're on Rumble because why not? So, the best thing you can do, just subscribe. It's free. Watch some videos for me. Play them in the background while you're doing other stuff, preferably not weird stuff. But anyway, so let's get into it and check out these sweet new cards. First, we have Ezram, Agency Chief. 2 blue, 2 white, and 1, a 5 mana, 5/5 flyer. When he enters the battlefield, you investigate twice. That's okay. For Cuddlist, sacrifice an artifact. He gains your choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Hexproof to end of turn. That is really good. Not only can the clue tokens keep him protected or draw you cards, but it says an artifact. So any of them. This is going to be a very popular card, although it's white and blue. So we'll have to wait and see. But it'll be pretty sweet to add to any loving commander deck out there. And of course, in limited, this thing is going to be the bomb. So moving on, we have the Cryptex. Anyway, 2 colorless artifact. Tap, collect evidence 3, add 1 mana of any one color. Put a unlock counter on this card. When you sacrifice it, surveil 3, then draw 3 cards. Activate only if it has 5 or more counters on it. This is really good. May not be, it's probably good enough for standard, but having to get through 15 cards, 5 counters, which is 15 cards out of your graveyard, might be a bit rough in some decks. It's going to be okay in limited. I only say that because it's a decent mana rock, but honestly, if you've already got 15 cards in your graveyard, this thing's on 5, and you sacrifice it, draw 3 cards, that's 18 cards. You start with 7 in your hand, you're probably almost going to be decked. But, hey, you do you. But in Commander, this may be the next big mana rock, but we'll have to wait and see. Because honestly, it doesn't do anything if you can't collect evidence 3, so maybe it's not good. Next, we have the Hunted Bone Brute, black and 2 for a 6/2 with Menace. Holy cow. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 1/2 white dog creature tokens. When the Bone Brute dies, each opponent loses 3 life, and it has Disguise of a black and 1. You give your opponent the stuff to kill it with, so, this is probably just a bad card all around. Might be okay in standard with a lot of removal in a black deck. 3 mana 6/2 seems pretty good. But the 2 toughness it's going to be rough because it just dies to everything. Not just creatures, removal. So we'll have to wait and see. Next, we have the Case of the Crimson Pulse. Red and 2. When this case enters the battlefield, discard a card, then draw 2. To solve it, you have no cards in your hand. Once it's solved at the beginning of your upkeep, discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. Seems pretty good. I didn't really need to figure out how these cases work. Does this stay in play? Does it solve just once, or does the whole thing stay in play? I need to do some research. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have Presumed Dead. Presumed Dead. Black and 1 instant. Till end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains when this creature dies. Returns to the battlefield under its owner's control and suspect it. Basic combat spell. We've seen this all the time. Limited decks. Be fine. Undergrowth Recon. 2 green and 1 enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. Return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Oh, daddy. Strip mines. Fetch lands. Oh, my. This is going to see some play. Commander, limited, probably not so much, just because I don't think he'll be throwing probably won't be throwing your lands away in limited. And maybe standard if there's some land shenanigan going on. I'm not really sure. Um, I mean, it's basically a free Crucible of Worlds. Like, you put this with a Crucible of Worlds, this is just badonkers. Because you get to put land in play, fetch with your fetch land, and then use Crucible Worlds, put that same land back in play, do it again. Or strip mine your opponent, put it in Crucible Worlds, strip mine your opponent again. Yada, yada, yada. I think it's going to be a really good card, great for Commander. We'll have to see what comes of this, but I think there's some shenanigans afoot. Next we have Case of the Trampled Garden, green and 2. When it enters the battlefield, distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among 1 or 2 creatures you control. To solve it, creatures you control have a total power 8 or greater. If unsolved, solved at the beginning of your end step. So there it says that again. If unsolved, solved at the beginning of your end step. Once it's solved, whenever you attack, play a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until end of turn. This is just really interesting because it's almost, there's like not a point to solve it. Maybe. I don't know. It seems okay. Anyway, moving on. Oh, look at that. Daddy's back. We got a split card. We got push pull. Push, white or black, and a 1 sorcery, destroy target tapped creature. Not bad. Pull, black and red twice and 4, so 6 mana. Put up to 2 Put up to 2 target creature cards from a single graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. They gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice them at the beginning of your next end step. This is going to be amazing in Commander. Amazing in Limited. Probably pretty good in Standard, I'm not going to lie. I mean, 6 mana is less than 7, and the kind of things you can jerk out of your graveyard to get nappy with is pretty good. I mean, we've got Atraxa, Shieldred, and all kinds of other just big nappies floating around. This is going to see play. I mean, it's even red. It's the same colors as the big dinos, so yeah. Just yeah. Next we have the Fester Leech. That is disgusting. 1 black, zombie leech, 1/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you mill 2 cards. Okay. Black and 1, it gets +2/+2 to end a turn. Activate only once each turn. That's actually a really good card. I mean, yeah, it takes 2 mana to pump it to make it a 3/3, but it plays for 1. And if you want to mill yourself a bunch, it's a thing, I guess. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. Pretty good card. It's going to be probably not good in Limited because you will kill yourself. Probably has a reason for Commander. Maybe this might be something for the older decks. I mean, it's 1 mana. It's a 1/1. It makes you mill yourself. There might be a reason for that. This might see its way into some of the older, like Living Index or some weird shenanigans of the such. Next we have Treacherous Greed, white, black, and 1. Additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice a creature that dealt damage this turn. Draw 3 cards. Each opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life. Wow, is this good. If you're playing a token build or, any white, black build with little weenies, and you get in there, drawing 3 cards for 3 mana is just that good. I mean, especially maybe an Aristocrats deck. I know Aristocrats decks don't normally try to punch you in the face, but they can punch you in the face. I'm just going to say that. And also notice it says sacrifice a creature that dealt damage this turn. So you technically, if a creature comes into play and it deals damage to an opponent, you can sacrifice that creature. It doesn't have to be during your combat phase. So there's some ways around this. So this is pretty cool. I think this is going to be a card in several decks, especially decks with shenanigans, and it will make those decks work. So keep your eye on this card. It's going to be in a lot of different builds. Next we have the Sample Collector, green and 2 for a 2/3. When it attacks, you may collect evidence 3. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Not bad. I mean, probably good for limited. at best. Oh, another one. We got another split card. We have Fuss and Bother. White or red and 2 instant. Put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. That's actually pretty good. The sorcery side, which is Bother, a blue or white, twice and 4, so 6 mana. Create 3 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying and surveil 2. That's a lot less impressive. A lot less impressive. But the Fuss side seems pretty neat. Maybe be really good and limited. All right, and we're gonna wrap it up with the Absolution Lamasiu, I guess we'll call it that. White and 4. When it enters the battlefield, all creatures that were suspected are no longer suspected. When it dies, you gain 3 life and suspect up to 1 target creature your opponent controls. That's not too shabby for limited. I mean, it's gonna if you got a suspected deck and you want to make your stuff, I don't know, block, I guess. Or if your opponent has a bunch of suspected stuff and you want to get rid of it because it also has a menace, this is definitely your thing. So this has a lot of possibility for limited. I don't think it's going to see a lot of play anywhere else, though. But with that said, thanks a lot for watching, you guys. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind. And as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. Hopefully not looking like this. Holy cow, does he need some sun and a vitamin D. Or V8. I meant V8. God, I'm so tired.